Now I'm letting you guys know right now, whatever I title this video, don't worry about it. Okay? Don't worry about it. Cause my video titles don't be the most descriptive of everything I'm gonna say. They just be like, look, these are the points that I'm gonna hit on. So if I say something and if I say the title and the title sounds weird, don't worry about it. Just watch the video anyway. And you'll understand. Happy Sunday, everybody. I'm really just, I have the camera like this because I just really want you to see the shirt real quick. But I'm going to adjust the camera in a second. Give me 1 second. Much better. That's much, much better. Now, I know that you guys are like, well, is the camera crooked because the painting is like, no, the painting's crooked. All my paintings are crooked because I'm one person. So, what you want? You have something to say? Oh, well, now Sadie's here. You can't see her. See, Titi. Hey, Titi. Say to the camera. Hey, camera. I love you too, but you gotta get off my lap. I'm trying to make a video, Sadie. Sadie, I'm trying to make a video. Sadie. You making biscuits on me? Ma'am. Down, baby. Down. I'm gonna do all of this. Sadie. Okay. I don't. Yes, ma'am. I love you too. Yes. Can you go over here? Can you go over there? Thank you. Get you. But it smell like Fritos. Anyway, as I was saying, happy Sunday. I know this video should be out a lot earlier, but it's not because a lot of stuff happened. So just a quick update on what's been going on with me. One, my power went out for 2 days because of the ice storm that ravaged the South, and I was very pissed off. And everybody was like, well, you know, the electricians are doing the best they can. I get that. But as a city, we knew this was happening. They should have put in more preparation because it wasn't even that cold outside. Like, people in the north was like, it's -1 degrees, and they still had their power. So, and it's not like a freak thing. Climate change been going on. We know that it's going to get like cold in the South. I mean, Texas froze before, you know? So I was just pissed off about that. But I was out of power. No, I did not have a generator. No, I did not have any other sources of electricity. All I had was my emergency power bank that I used to charge my phone. Cell towers went out for a minute, which scared the shit out of me. Luckily, my manager was super nice about it. She was like, yeah, you know, if your power is on by Monday, you know, just put in that it was like PTO time and all that stuff because I know you can't help weather. So she was very nice about it, but it sucked because I was in a very cold apartment with my cats. They were freaking out in the dark. They were like, it's dark. We can just run around and do whatever the fuck we want to do. And I had to eat struggle food, which upset my stomach, which I'm still kind of recovering from. And one of the funny things about it, and I even posted on social media about this, was that the Kroger and the Aldi were empty, closed. Like, as soon as I put up to the door, they were like, no more. We can't take any more people. Yeah, I've emptied us out. We ain't got nothing. And so everybody was like, lines were going up and down the street just trying to get into McDonald's and like other fast food places that were open. And I was like, well, I'm just going to keep driving until I find a place, till I start seeing lights and like see where there's power. And I get to the international market, which is run by immigrants, mostly Latina immigrants, and fully stocked, not crowded at all. I literally just took my time walking through the aisles, grabbing stuff. I was like, cereal, canned food, cheese and crackers. Like, I was just like grabbing stuff, and then I was like, do you guys have candles? And they were like, we have prayer candles for, you know, our religion. I was like, I'll take one. I need that. And so I was like, I came home with everything that I needed. I spent like $30-some and was able to survive for the next 2 days with food and everything. My refrigerator and everything did go bad, but I was able to like leave all my stuff outside so it didn't expire. Some things spoiled because I was trying to make snap decisions about what should go outside when I should just put the whole fucking refrigerator outside. So I had to throw some things away and I had to rebuy some things. But for the most part, like, my milk was good. I don't know about the cheeses because I forgot about them for a minute. I have a lot of fucking cheese. I forgot about my cheese and sour cream for a minute. I'm hoping that when I open them, they're not spoiled. But I think there's enough preservatives in the cheese that they didn't spoil. But I'm going to have to check that sour cream. But yeah, so luckily power came back on. Friday night, I went and sat over a friend's house for a few hours, spent an hour on the phone with the electric company just for them to tell me we don't know anything. We just know your power's out, and yet you know that. And I was like, what the fuck? But so I was able to, get it warm in the apartment again, which made me very, very happy. But yeah, it got cold as fuck. And there were some people who were still without power because the electricians were prioritizing like apartment complexes and people where there was a lot of people on the same power grid. They prioritized that, and then like houses were last. And I understand why houses were last, because it was motherfuckers posting on social media about how, they had fireplaces, so they were still warm. They had grills outside. They was eating lamb chops and shit. And I'm sitting here eating Vienna sausages and crackers. Like, what the fuck? They had generators, so they were in a better situation than I could have been in. So glad they prioritized like, hospitals, apartments, grocery stores, all of that stuff. But anyway, that's what happened with that. Last video, I ranted about why you shouldn't have a baby just because you think they're going to fix your mental illness problems or they're going to heal your trauma. Quick update on that. I did apologize to that friend. Not because I felt that what I said was wrong, because I said what I said. But at the time, I was in a depressive episode, and I didn't really give a fuck about anybody's feelings. And I kind of was just like, I'm going to say what I say, and I'm going to turn the phone off. But I talked to my trauma therapist, which is also her therapist. And she said that really the issue that I was having is, one, I had a lot of shit going on. Like I said, I was in a depressive episode. I did not need to add to the shit by dealing with them and their problems. And also as a trauma response, I do take on other people's problems. I take on their energy. I try to help them fix their problems. And it's not really my responsibility to have to fix her problems. So regardless of whether or not she's going to be a good mother or not, really isn't my issue to deal with. Now, don't get me wrong. I definitely feel like I was triggered because of, like I said in the past video, like my experiences of being the fix-it baby. But also, that's something she got to figure out for herself. She has to want to go to therapy for herself. She has to want to be better for herself. She has to want to, take care of her and her child's mental health and like fix the issues that she has in her life. It's not my responsibility to fix them. It's not my responsibility to educate her on it. So I apologize, basically saying, I don't know what's in your heart. I don't know what your true feelings are. I am going to step away from the fix everyone's problems mentality and just focus on being your friend. That's what I'm going to do. And she was like, yeah, it really hurt my feelings. And she said that. And I was like, I know. And I also knew you weren't going to tell me that. But like I said, I'm going to step away from it. I did have a conversation with my therapist where I was like, I don't feel super comfortable being friends with people who are having like these big life changes going on, like being married or getting married or having a baby, because it's like all they can talk about and I can't relate for shit. And my therapist was like, you don't have to. And she was like, well, and she's like, well, I'm not gonna lie to you. Pregnant people, when they're pregnant, that's all they want to talk about is being pregnant, because pregnancy fucking sucks. But you don't have to be pregnant to be a supportive friend. You can just be like, yeah, that sucks. And I just have a hard time with it because in my family, everyone's very selfish. So if they're pregnant, all they will talk about for the next few years is pregnancy and childbirth. If they get married, all they're going to talk about is married stuff. Like I had one cousin who we were close, and she literally got to a point where she was like, I don't want me and my husband hanging around people who are single. We need to hang around couples. We need to hang around people who are married, specifically, like all of that stuff, like very, very self-absorbed. So it's difficult for me to envision myself having a friendship with someone who is going through these huge life changes, because in my mind, all they want to talk about is that, and I can't relate. So I'm sitting here like, because people will talk to me about relationships, and if it don't sound compatible, I'll be like, break up, break up. Like, that's just how I feel. But I understand that things can be different for people when they're like romantically attracted to someone. And so I know I just spent the first several minutes talking about other stuff. But what I did want to talk about today is aromantic stuff. Now, I'm letting you guys know right now, whatever I title this video, don't worry about it. Okay? Don't worry about it. Because my video titles don't be the most descriptive of everything I'm going to say. They just be like, look, these are the points that I'm going to hit on. So if I say something and if I say the title and the title sounds weird, don't worry about it. Just watch the video anyway. And you'll understand, because I'm not somebody who's very good at titling my videos in a way that makes people feel like they're not going to be offended by something. Usually people feel like they're going to be offended by the title. I say things in a way that sometimes comes off as offensive, but then when I explain it, it's like, oh, I see what you mean now. So that's why, like even the last one, like a baby's not your therapist. I say shit like that. But when I explain it, you see that it is a different situation. But I wanted to talk about aromanticism, aromantic identity. I just be saying arrow, whichever way you pronounce it. It just depends on where you from, how you pronounce it. The reason that I've been like hesitant to talk about aromantic identities is because I'm not sure if I'm aromantic or not. And I feel weird sometimes talking about identities that I don't fully claim as my experience, because I want to hear from people who that is their experience. But I just struggle with it because, now stay with me for a minute. I come from a trauma background. I have chronic post-traumatic stress disorder, meaning I have a lot of trauma stacked on top of each other and interwoven with each other and like twisted around, and some of the traumas are like sticking through other traumas, like it's all over the fucking place. And I'm not saying that having trauma makes you aromantic or anything like that, but what I want to work on with my trauma therapist is attachment. So when you go through a lot of trauma, you have issues with attachment. Secure attachment is when, you're raised by parents who, they show you that they love you, they are consistent, they are there, you can lean on them, you feel safe with them, you feel supported by them. So then when you get older and you start forming like friendships or even romantic relationships, you feel secure in yourself and are able to be vulnerable and open and honest and direct with that person and have a healthy relationship. A lot of us ain't got that. So when you are growing up, even if you didn't have trauma, you could still have issues where your parents just was not there. So when you have any issues where your primary caregiver is distant, they're emotionally unavailable, they're emotionally unpredictable, you're not necessarily safe, any of those situations, maybe you even have your parents divorced, and that's traumatic because now you're in the middle of divorce proceedings. And that's a lot of tension on you and chaos. When you have any of those things, anything can happen that can throw off your attachment. You end up with an insecure attachment, which is usually preoccupied attachment or avoidant attachment. Hopefully the names haven't changed recently, but I talk about this a lot because I like to watch these videos. For a long time, because of the personality that was assigned to me, I was avoidant attachment, not really. My cats are having a field day. Not really wanting to get fully attached to people. Like I could tell you all types of shit and not actually feel close to you or get vulnerable with you. And then I think as I went through college and I actually started going through therapy, I became more preoccupied, more anxious, more like wanting to form those relationships with people, even if they weren't super healthy. I was just like, I need to have friends. I need to have people who I care about. I want a support system. I'm gonna talk to you. I'm talk to you. And I'm gonna have a really hard time breaking off those friendships. And if you've seen my videos about friendships, how that be going. But yeah, so you end up being the preoccupied like me, or you end up being avoidant, which is that person who never truly opens up to you, never really gets close to you. They might be your friend. You might know them for years, but you'll always feel like you never really know them because they're always pulling away. They're distant. They're aloof. I was actually talking with a guy who actually ran into an avoidant personality person, and he was like, oh, she's so mysterious. And I'm like, avoidant people tend to be, because she's never going to fully open up or like answer your questions directly. avoidant people tend to think, if I never let anyone get close to me, then I can never be hurt again. And then they tend to sometimes sabotage the relationship and be like, see, this is exactly why I should never let anyone get close to me, because this person left or this person reacted negatively to the thing that I said. And that justifies the way that I treat people. So avoidant people tend to do that. And it's not on purpose. Like avoidant attachment people and preoccupied attachment people, we don't consciously know, hey, when I was young, my mom was very emotionally unavailable, so I am like this. They don't know that consciously. It's subconscious. So you end up with people like that because for whatever reason, when you were a child, your parents let you down. Whether they were trying to let you down on purpose because they were awful people, or they just had their own trauma to deal with and they let you down by accident. But in those first few years, they're really, really pivotal. Not even the first 2 years of your life are so important because it can set the foundation for many, many years, if not the rest of your life. And like I've said in other things, I have trauma from as early as 2. There was a lot of chaos. There was a lot of hiding emotions. There was a lot of violence, yelling. You learn at a certain point to kind of close yourself off to be safe. And then once you're out of that situation, in my case, I turned more preoccupied of like, I need to make friends. I need to have relationships. I need to even if it means attaching myself to these people who aren't healthy. So because of that, I hesitate to claim anything regarding aromantic or even aplatonic because of the fact that I know that I have attachment injuries. And that is going to color the way that I attach myself to other people. Now, sexuality, even though it seems difficult at first, it's a lot easier to understand because, people can have sex with people without having any type of attachment to them. It's not the same part of your brain, I feel. And something that's my trauma therapist said that I thought was really important. She was like, a lot of people say, oh, you can't love anyone until you love yourself, or you can't be loved by anyone until you love yourself. She was like, no, you have to go through these relationships where you are loved by people to even understand what love is and what it's supposed to look like. See, if you have a secure attachment, your parents loved you first. So now you know what love looks like. So when you go into relationships, you understand what you should be expecting and what you should be walking away from. If you don't have that, you don't know what the fuck love is. You don't know if this person is treating you right, if this is what a relationship is supposed to be like, if you should leave, if you should stay, if you should hope for them to change, if you should try and make them change. You have no idea. You have no foundation from that because your parents didn't love you, or they loved you, but they loved you in the wrong way. And so that's why I'm very hesitant about it. I feel like when it comes to sexual attraction versus romantic attraction, even versus platonic attraction, those affect different parts of your brain. So with sexual attraction, as I've explained to people in the comments, that is when, you see someone, you find them to be sexually attractive in the sense that you want to have sex with that person. You feel yourself being turned on by that person. And if that person were to come over to you, you would be very, very enthusiastic about, yes, let's do this. That is what I've maintained, what I've explained to people in the comments who've asked questions about it. That is where that comes from. If you do not experience sexual attraction, you might see someone and think they're cute, but not want to engage in any type of sexual activity with them because you just don't feel that. You don't feel that for them. You can still feel sexual urges. You can still have a high sex drive, but the attraction piece of where you see that person and you want to have sex with them is missing. And that's where, like I say, demisexuality gets a little weird. Even demi-romantic or demi-platonic, those get even weirder because I feel like those are different parts of your brain. So when it comes to romantic attraction, I don't fully know what that's supposed to be. Like I can't describe it to you because I have no concept of it because I've never experienced it. But just because I've never experienced it doesn't mean that I immediately want to claim that I'm aromantic. It means that I want to figure out how I can heal my attachment injuries so that I can, see once that stuff in me is healed, am I capable of experiencing romantic attraction? Am I capable of seeing someone and wanting to be in a romantic, loving relationship with them? Or if I'm just not romantically attracted to people, but I'd rather be in something like a queer platonic relationship, or I just rather, just live with my friends and have a bunch of cats. I don't fully know yet because I'm working on finding out who I really am in therapy. And that's okay. If someone is in that process and they want to claim aromantic because they've never felt it before, I guess that's fine. I really don't feel like I'm in a position to gatekeep the aromantic community because I just don't claim it, not until I know for sure who I am as a person and I've healed the attachment injuries that I have to where I can see clearly of whether or not I actually want to be in a relationship. Because it could be that I'm afraid of forming attachments with people because of my attachment injuries that would lead me to not want to be in a romantic relationship. And if I heal that, I might want to be in a romantic relationship, but I just don't know yet. So I would love to hear from aromantic people in the comments about their experience, about how they feel about people who claim that they're aromantic. Just like with other videos, claim that they're aromantic due to trauma, claim that they're aromantic because they are an avoidant attachment person because maybe, they're abandoned by their parents and now they don't want to form romantic attachments. So they say that they are aromantic. I want to hear how you guys feel about that. Because I think that would be a very interesting perspective to get. Some things that I'm not fully here about is trying to make the romantic orientations and even the platonic orientations match exactly with the sexual orientations. So saying that aromantic is just a mirror of asexuality, I don't feel like that is true. I feel like romantic orientations come from a different part of the brain, and some things just don't make sense to me that kind of sort of make sense to me from a sexual attraction perspective, but don't make sense to me from a romantic or a platonic perspective. And I'm throwing in platonic because I don't want to make a whole video on platonic attraction. I don't understand what aplatonic is supposed to mean because evolutionary speaking, hate to bring science into this, we are social creatures and we need to form bonds with others in order to survive. So if you are someone who feels like you cannot form platonic relationships with people and you have no desire to form platonic relationships with people, or you feel like you're incapable of having platonic relationships with people, that's gonna fuck with you. Cause anybody can tell you put someone in solitary confinement, they're gonna go crazy because we need to form bonds with people to survive. Even someone like me, an introvert with social anxiety out the ass, needs to still every now and then text a friend so that I can talk to someone because we need those bonds to exist. So I don't understand that whole spectrum in my mind. It feels like everyone experiences platonic attraction to some extent. Even seems like psychopaths or sociopaths experience it to some extent. Now they may struggle with it, but they experience it to some extent. So I don't fully understand that whole thing. Okay. Platonic over, back to romantic. So the thing about romantic attraction that gets me is when we say demi-romantic or gray romantic. I know I be harping on it. I know. And I know what I said about it in the other video regarding to sexuality. Even with what I said, though, it can still make sense to an extent what demisexuality and gray sexuality are in relation to sexual attraction. Because we've been able to map that. We've been able to listen to people's opinions and experiences. I still see some people claiming demisexuality in a way that doesn't seem to align with the definition of it, but I let it go because that's you. I pick my battles. But so using that same logic to say, okay, I can only be romantically attracted to people that I formed a strong bond with. I don't mean to sound like this person, but that is what romantic attraction is. And I know some people are like, there are people who they fall in love super quick and all that stuff. Yeah, but even the act of falling in love with someone is forming that strong bond with them. Like, we don't know, as like psychologists, science, or whatever, we don't fully know what love is, so we can't even really map it out in a way that we map out sexual attraction. But even if you're someone who goes on your first date and you say, I'm in love with this person, I've fallen in love, I'm romantically attracted to this person because they tick all my boxes and they make me feel good, and I can see myself having a future with this person, even if I don't fully know them like all the way yet, you're still forming a deep bond with that person in order to even feel love for that person. Now, in our, what you call it, allonormative, whatever society, it's possible that there are a lot of people who think they're falling in love, but they're actually not. And people will admit that. They will say, listen, I thought it was love, but it wasn't. And that's the thing. I thought I was romantically attracted to this person, but I really wasn't. I just had issues where I wanted to be married really quickly, and that's why I felt that way. Like, people will admit to that. People will admit that they're wrong. But whether you fall in love with this person on the first date or the 115th date, to fall in love itself is that strong bond, strong connection. And again, you can do the same with your friend. You can fall in love with your friend and have a really, really strong connection to that person, whether you feel like you want to engage with them sexually or romantically or not, but you're still forming that strong bond with them. And it's weird because I saw something online. I don't want to call this person out or anything, but they were like, oh, for 3 years, I saw this person in passing and I didn't feel any attraction to them. And then now 3 years have passed and I see this person and now I'm like all attracted to them. And it's like, what you described though didn't sound like y'all found like you formed a strong bond. It just sounded like you knew them for 3 years. And there was somebody in one of my comments, I can't remember which video it was, but they basically were saying like the reason that they called themselves demisexual, demi-romantic, was because they just did not feel safe engaging in those activities or opening up to people until they knew that they could trust them, which is why they were more attracted to their friends than strangers, because they built a bond with their friends where they felt safe. So as I've said in my other videos, where is the line? And I'm not here to judge people who call themselves demi anything because of their trauma or their history, but I'm saying, how do you talk about demi-romantic attraction in a way that doesn't make it sound like you're just describing romantic attraction? How do you talk about gray romantic attraction in a way that doesn't make it sound like you're just describing romantic attraction? How is it different? Because yeah, you might date somebody and you don't feel romantic attraction towards them, and then you date someone else and you do feel romantic attraction towards them. But that is an experience that a lot of people have. They're doing something with plastic, but I locked the cabinets, so I'm good. But like, how do you separate that? We don't know how to separate that. So I have weird feelings about trying to make romantic attraction be like a mirror version of sexual attraction, because we don't fully understand what romantic attraction is in order to map it out in that way. Because again, anytime you are romantically attracted to someone, that is you having like strong feelings towards them. How do I put this? And I know some people might say, but what if you're romantically attracted to a stranger? Are you romantically attracted to a stranger, or do you think that they are cute? You know what I mean? Like, you can see somebody and be like, oh, they're cute, and now I have a fantasy in my head of being in a relationship with this person and it being like that, and then I meet them and they're not that person, so I don't feel that anymore. But how do you know that that is not you? You're still having these strong feelings for a person. Or if you met them one time, you met them 2 times, if you're their coworker, if they're your neighbor, and you just feel like you've developed romantic feelings for them, how do you quantify that in a way that says it's somehow different from someone who would call themselves demi-romantic? Because you could still be like, I've had, several conversations with this person, and now I am romantically attracted to them, and I really wish we could be together, but they're in a relationship. You still formed a strong enough bond to be romantically attracted to this person, or even sexually attracted to this person. But I just don't understand where Demi falls on that, because Demi is somehow making it seem like romantic attraction is something that just randomly happens. Like sexual attraction, you can see how that randomly happens. You can't see how romantic attraction randomly happens. You can see how people who have insecure attachment styles, where they meet someone and they immediately latched on to that person because they feel like they don't feel okay being alone, or they feel like they need to be in a relationship, and they will say, oh, I love this person. But are they really feeling romantic attraction, or are they operating from a place of insecure attachment and maybe even trauma or abandonment fears? We need to parse that out. We can't just say, because saying you're demi-romantic somehow makes anybody who experiences any type of romantic attraction feel like less. Like it devalues it to some extent, because it's like you're saying that people who experience romantic attraction aren't forming a deep bond with somebody, don't feel fully safe with somebody. Like, what are you saying by putting that out there as one of the quantifiers of romantic attraction? I need to know. Like I said, I'm waiting until I fully know myself and I have healed from the attachment injuries that I have, as from all the traumas that I've experienced, to see whether or not I am truly aromantic, or if I was just having, insecure attachment injuries. That's what I'm choosing to do for myself. I know a lot of people don't want to do that. That's your life. But I need some answers, because I do not feel like romantic attraction is the same thing as sexual attraction, in the sense that you can like compare them and like just borrow terminology from one to the other. And the same thing with platonic attraction. I don't feel like you can take all the labels that we use for sexual attraction and apply them to platonic attraction. I feel like it's different parts of your brain, and I feel like they work differently. So we really need to like think more about this, talk more about this, and really just have an open dialogue about it. Again, not trying to invalidate anybody. If you feel offended by this video, I don't know you. I don't know you. I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm not trashing you specifically. I'm not invalidating your experiences specifically, because I don't know who you are. So when you come in the comments, please come in the comments from a place of, this is my experience and I'm sharing it with you to help you better understand the spectrum of these experiences across the aromantic community. And let's go from there. There's no need to fight. There's no need to be like, so you're saying that I did it. I can't say nothing about you. I don't know you. So that's all I wanted to talk about for you guys today. And I hope you're taking care of yourself and drinking your water. I kind of fell off with the depression and stuff, and then not having electricity, but I'm back on it. I'm back on the drinking water. I'm going back on the working out. I'm going to take a trip this weekend. Not this weekend, because it's Sunday, but next weekend to, hopefully just get out of town and just relax and have a good time. And I hope that you guys are taking time for yourself and like, relaxing, taking naps if you need to, taking breaks if you need to, and just taking care of yourself in general. Don't want any of you out here struggling. So take care of yourself, because you deserve it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.